We are on live, sir.
Okay.
So we will wait for 2 minutes so that our viewers can also join.
Okay. That's good.
Yes.
So Farmina is doing well now.
Yes, sir. Thank you
Right.
for your support. So, hello everyone.
Hi,
Welcome to
everyone.
Farmina Nutrition Hour. Today we are going to discuss an important and an interesting topic. A topic which is very important for every pet parents and also to those who wanted to become a pet parent. We are going to discuss about puppy and kitten wellness. I am Dr. Anish Pillai, vet manager for Farmina Pet Foods, and with me today our expert is Dr. Anil K. Sood.
Hi,
Dr. Anil,
everybody.
hello sir. Dr. Anil Sood, he is an alumnus from the College of Veterinary Science, Bikaner, where he did his graduation and post graduation. He did his diploma on orthopedic surgery from New York City. He established Pet Aid Veterinary Health Center in 1983, which is one of the oldest and one of the most trusted veterinary health centers in the country. He is also a founder and chief patron of Small Animal Veterinary Association India and an advisor of National Veterinary Foundation India. And he is an ex-vet surgeon of Government of Delhi. He is also a founder of Pet Parenting Association India and a former member of advisory board of National Zoological Garden, Delhi. He is also a he was also a chief veterinary consultant for Delhi Police Dog Squad. Apart from this, he has received many accolades like Lifetime Achievement Award by Delhi Canis Club and Best Veterinarian Award and Leading Ed Practitioners by the Pet Icon Awards. Welcome, sir. It's an honor that you have accepted our invitation and you are here. Welcome, sir.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Sir, you have spent almost 4 decades as a pet practitioner in this industry. So, and while discussing with you, you mentioned that you are a wellness consultant. So, for many of our viewers, this wellness consultant may be a new term. Can you please brief, sir, about your work so far?
Yeah, sure. Basically, when we adopt a pet, whether it is a kitten or whether it is a puppy, naturally we want to look after that kitten or the pup as a parent. Now the trend is coming up when we don't have a human kids adaptation, but we are doing pet
Pet
adoption.
adaptation.
Yes. So how we look at the pup, we don't want to see him sick. That means we want to manage their life as healthy as possible, and that wellness means you have to practice certain things in giving good food, giving good exercise, providing good environment at home, so that their psychological, their physical strength is always maintained. And the three things are very important: air, water, and food. If you're
Food.
providing air, it is free of cost. If you take good exercise and take your pet, so it's a wellness activity. If you want to get into sickness, don't provide good air, it is going to be a sick, whether it is human being or whether it is pet we are
Pet.
talking about. And if you don't take good food, because in food also we have to see the sustainability, means the life has to sustain. But the food is very important because there are two aspects in food. That is, one is preventing disease, that is through food, that is wellness. So
Okay.
if you provide good exercise and good food, that means the package is complete for wellness. So if you want to practice sickness, then you'll have to learn a lot of disease, and how the disease is caused is through wellness. But if you want to cure it is a sickness industry. It's part of a medicine. So I do practice medicine too, but naturally helping people not to uh, take their pet to a stage where they are falling sick often. Even vomiting and loose motion is quite troublesome for a pet parent. It is not
That's
very easy to manage that. Even that's a small disease, but it's anyway normal away. It is slightly away from the health. So index of health is perfection, means the stool is all right, the urine is all right, and the pup is eating all right and is growing well. That means with his age, with his breed, according to specifications, if the pet is doing well, that is wellness.
that sounds great, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
So, sir, actually, before going to the topic, I just wanted to ask. We have read in many newspapers and magazines that during this lockdown period, the past 6 months, the pet parent ownership has increased. We have also seen articles saying that the price of the puppies and kittens have gone up. Okay,
Right.
so yeah, but at the same time, today I was very sad when I saw a WhatsApp status from a doctor. So he actually wanted to help a pet. So the status said that there is a Labrador, 2 years old.
Right.
The owner of the pet, they wanted to give it for adoption or give it to any shelter because they are not in a position to uh, continue with the pet because the question they put is that they are moving to a flat where pets are not permitted.
Yeah,
So
that that
as a pet as a veterinarian, as a expert, what would be your advisor? How should a pet parent when how should a pet parent select a pet?
See, basically, it is a great responsibility. Once you are becoming a pet parent, it's a great responsibility. And pet is going to be your baby for 13, 14, 15 years. And as the veterinary has advanced more and the veterinary sciences are advancing more towards that pet caring. So earlier, the age was 10 years or 12 years. You find that the dog has become old and geriatric changes have come. But now, since a lot of supplementation nutraceuticals have come into play and a lot of food is available which is healthy in nature, so extension of life in case of a pet has gone up. So once you're selecting a puppy,
Hmm.
my advice is always never select a puppy until
Hmm.
unless puppy is max minimum 8 weeks of age, 8
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
10 weeks.
Hmm. Hmm.
And once start enjoying that puppy, you
Hmm.
know
Hmm. Hmm.
you are adopting a puppy, please make arrangement. How you are going to look after that, who is going to spend time with the puppy, and if there are no kids, then he is going to be a next kid at home. And whatever you are trying to eat or whatever is your lifestyle, you are trying to impart
Hmm.
that lifestyle to the pup, which is not really good because you'll have to, respect the animal life according to their physiology, according to their, biology. If
Hmm.
you don't give same thing what they require, rather you give what you are enjoying yourself, sweets or something you are giving to your pup, everything, so it is not going to be a healthy puppy. So you before you take a pup, you have to decide the age first, and
Hmm.
then which, then you see, the Google is great help now. You can just put Labrador, how big it is going to be, what are your responsibilities are going to be, and how you're going to be, when you are leaving him behind, what are the you know conditions basically you are going to face, what are the challenges you are going to face once you are, the pup has grown up. So why this problem is coming, because they have gone for a pup in a hurry and they didn't know what all is involved in looking
Hmm.
after that. So
Yes.
my advice, when you are picking up a puppy, pick a pup at 8 to 10 weeks of age, and it should be completely healthy. Go to a vet, or take his opinion about the health before you decide. Breeder
Hmm.
is always in a hurry to give you the puppy, because
Hmm.
they may give you puppy for 4 weeks or 5 weeks, and they will say, "हाँ ये बड़ा हो जाता है, no problems." But I will advise not to take a puppy until this puppy is 8 to 10 weeks, and that complete health checkup is required, because
Hmm.
handicapped puppy will not be able to take care until unless you are expert in animal care. So
Hmm.
10 weeks is an ideal age, but even if you get at 8 weeks of age, and proper dentition is there, proper walk is there, puppy is independently eating and it is weaned off on a diet. It is not requiring a mother for his growth, initial growth, and initial colostrum is given. So his defenses are better, his immunity is better. So that you must consider and must know that how what is the behavior of that particular breed. Suppose you take a pug. Pug is a very small breed, but if pug is not socialized properly, you imagine the viciousness they have, and they are really attacking and they are biter.
I
You
have
know,
seen many Pomeranians also like that, especially Indian Spitz, not Pomeranians, Indian Spitz.
you don't handle a puppy of any breed. I will
Uh,
say any breed, whether they are loving breed or not loving breed. Even Labradors can become biters. If the puppy is coming to us and if we don't treat them well in the veterinary hospital itself, you have always a scene at the veterinary clinic itself. 4 handlers you require for a small puppy. So sometimes for 3 months old puppy you cannot take care unless you're really handling them very well when they come to your clinic, and you give them love. They like your clinic and they like your handling also. They should not be traumatized once they come to your clinic. They should be handled well by
okay.
animal, those who are handling. Another thing I would say that you must understand the budget. How much budget do you have to spend on a puppy when
Okay.
the puppy is there? Yeah.
So, sir, is there any difference, sir, for selecting a puppy and a kitten? So the cat population, the cat parentship is also growing in India. Is
Yeah.
growing at a very good pace. So,
Right.
what would be your advice for a pet parent who wanted to raise a kitten? How should
Because
they? How should they? How should they select a kitten? And when? At what age?
I'll give you my experience because I was looking after only dogs at that time when I started practicing and stuff like that. And a few years back, my daughter insisted, and then we bought a kitten at our home. That was after one or two cats I have kept earlier, and that
Hmm.
I used to keep in my clinic. And the cats are very, very independent, and they will, move around and very clean animals. Uh, I will say, as a pet, when you are adopting a pup or a kitten, there's a lot of difference because
Hmm.
kittens don't require much of your attention, except you will have to feed them very well. You have to keep them food ready all the time. And in case of a pup, they will naturally they need more attention than the kitten, number one. Number two, kittens, once you are going and selecting a kitten, again the age, 8 to 10 weeks of age, kitten is healthier, and their vaccination starts at 8 weeks of age. In case of a pup, it starts again at 35 days. First initial breeder will give the vaccination of puppy DP. We call it distemper and parvovirus vaccine. And then the vaccine starts from 8 weeks, and then 14 weeks, and then 18 weeks, like that. So up to 4 months of age. In case of a kitten, the vaccination starts at 8 weeks of age, and they are scratchy in nature. They will, they'll put their nails on your body. They will scratch you. They will love you. They will roll around you. And kittens are fantastic to rear because now I have got two cats at home, so I know they are wonderful animals. But definitely, your experience of a pup and of a kitten is different altogether. Again, picking up a kitten, they should walk around, they should be healthy, they should be playing when you are picking them up. And, some of the kittens are really, really naughty. And then you'll have to pick up the one who is most naughtiest, because that is going to grow faster. Yeah.
Interesting, sir. Interesting. So we have a question, sir. We will take up a question. This is from Mrs. Raj. So she have
Okay.
asked, I have a 3 month old female beagle puppy. She is the smallest among her siblings. She is
Mhm.
very lean. How can I increase her weight and health?
Yeah, Raj, when you are looking at 3 months old female beagle puppy, you have to just see the weight. What is the weight right now? Current weight. If her current weight is 3 month old puppy is around 3 kg to 4 kg, it's a healthy puppy. If it is underweight, you'll have to get in touch with a veterinarian to see the worm loads. if there is any kind of a worms are there. So deworming, you'll have to do it frequently. I will advise you to go in for a deworming right now and repeat it after 19 days, and then every month, and then every 3 months, because sometimes worm load is higher, then the puppy do not gain weight. You'll have to just see the puppy starter. Even if you're giving some diet, so must look at the what starter you are giving right now. It is proper in energy requirement, proteins requirement, and lipids requirement, and you can give whatever is required to for a better growth, which has got a balanced nutrition. Because the difference between nutrition and the food is different. If you are giving homemade food, you are not able to make sometimes the proper ingredients which are required for their growth. So you have to just see, if it is very lean, then you'll have to give, lipid, more fat in the diet. But you'll have to again consult a vet and see the pathology, if there is any abnormality, if his loose motions or vomitings are frequent, or any kind of indigestion is there. So you'll have to give on supplementation. But I will suggest you to go for a ready-made food only, because of the reason these ready-made foods are formulated whatever is required for their metabolism, and for their digestibility is better, and their absorption is much better. In food, I will suggest you one thing. Availability is one thing, absorption is one thing, but assimilation is more important. Your digestive system should assimilate the nutrients what is required, and their enzymes. Because few days back only, there was one pet parent came to me, and he was feeding him 3-month-old puppy a paneer and egg and milk powder, and for her faster growth. But the puppy was losing weight because it was imbalanced.
Thank you, sir. I think this is the answer for you, Mrs. Raj. And we will take up another question. This is from Miss Ganguly. Her question is, my puppy is of 8 weeks and she is having Samolac. What's your take on raw feeding? Again, the same thing which you have
See,
told.
in case of a 8 weeks puppy, the enzymes are in the intestines are only, will digest very light food. So Similac is formulated food again. But you can switch on to again a puppy starter at 8 weeks of age. And puppy starters comes as a dry food also, as kibbles, because kibble size is such that they can be, puppy always, try to gulp very fast. So if you put those kibbles and, make them in a boiling water, or in hot water for a while, it will become softer. With Semolac, you can mix that. Otherwise, any starter which is a wet food, uh, it is very, very good for their growth. And at that point of time, whatever absorption is and assimilation is required, the growth takes place between the puppyhood to 15 months of age. It depends which breed you are taking. If it is a small breed, it is going to grow very slow. But if it is a big breed, it is going to grow very, very fast. I don't know which breed you are having. So if it is a big breed puppy, it has to grow within 8 months, 20 years of human age. So you have to just provide good nutrition at this point. Semilac is good. Along with Semilac, I will suggest you should start with puppy starter kibbles.
Yeah. So I just wanted to add, sir. So Dr. Miss Ganguly, you can also try our NND wet food starter. So it is in a form. It is in a wet form so that the dog can easily lick also, and it is also a complete diet.
Yeah, I will
So
suggest another thing. I will share one another thing to the all pet parents, because saliva in case of pets is not containing that kind of an enzyme which human beings enjoy. We have got a more flavoring. They Please stick to only one diet which is suiting to your dog. And stomach is their digestive unit, not the mouth, because they don't lick, they gulp. Okay.
yes,
Once it is in the tongue, it will go into stomach, and in the stomach, the factory of digestion starts.
starts. Yes.
Yeah,
So
and that yeah, intestines digestibility is very slow in case of human beings. It takes 30 hours to 48 hours to 5 days sometimes for certain food. But in case of a dog, it is very small. The total intestinal weight is one-fifth of the human weight. Human weight, digestive system weight is most, but in case of animal, it is very short.
very short.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So we will take another question, sir. So this is, hi doctor, need a suggestion from your end. My Labrador puppy, male, is just over 3 months old, about 105 days to be precise. He is on Farmina diet, and additionally, we are giving them calcium and multivitamin supplements. My floor is of marble, and my Labrador puppy hardly gets to exercise. Do I need to give my puppy and joint support supplement? Do I need to give my puppy any joint support supplement? Example, Megaflex or Senopet, etc. to avoid joint problems in future. Kindly suggest also what should be the dosage of the supplement recommended for my pet. So actually, this is a common question among the pet parents, sir. Once they get a puppy, they wanted to give best for their pets, and supplementation, giving extra supplements, especially for the larger breeds, and for hairy breeds, it is multivitamins. Over usage. What is your thought on this, sir?
I will say, best things are always dangerous. So if you use it more, everything causes toxicity if it is in abundance.
Yes.
Vitamins and everything. These foods you are giving NLD, and NLD is very well formulated food, and it is basically supplementations are not required once you are giving that kind of food. Number one. Number two, if your floor is slippery, you cannot change a floor for your pet, right? What you will have to take your pet for a long walks on a rough surface in the park and on the road, and you can run in the park with your pet, and take your pet for a good exercise, because that will build two things: build muscles and build you immunity. So you have to understand that exercise is much better than giving a 5-star
Supplements.
floor to your pet. Fix some timing so that you can take your pet puppy for a good exercise. As far as Farmina NLD is concerned, I will suggest you that once you are giving that, you don't require to give any supplementation, because calcium toxicity is most pronounced when they grow up and their hip dysplasia takes place, or if it is dysplasia, not dysplasia genetical, but you are going to physical dysplasia. A lot of pressure is going to come on hip, and Labradors have got a tendency to put on weight also. So if you give supplementation, the toxicity of supplementation will cause osteoporosis, rather than uh, you are just worried about the joint. You're not going to give them any kind of a supplement like Contraden or DHA or DCS. Everything is there and there are specific formulated food are coming specifically from Fermina, which has got a joints. They have got a formulation for good muscles, for stones, for I again repeating my statement, preventing disease and curing disease, both through nutrition is much better than doing anything through medicine, because medicines have got side effects. But once you do prevent medicine and diseases, like you are asking for good joints, good support system, so you need to have good muscles, and muscles are built through through from proteins. If you are giving right proteins, now it depends upon what kind of an ingredient is used by the company for making that protein. If you see that it is a good protein like lamb, I will say, but they say that 25% lamb. That doesn't mean that they have got a 25% protein in that. It is only 4-5% or 5% of dried protein. You'll have to just see how much is required by weight, adult weight. At that stage, they require a minimum protein requirement as 1 gram to 1.5 gram per kg body weight, and their calories are contributed through carbohydrate and fat. So you have to focus on food and do not overwhelm with a lot of supplementation. I will suggest not to give too many supplementation, because these foods are all fortified foods, right?
Yes.
So keep your puppy on a good health by giving exercise. There is no excuse and there is no replacement for exercise.
Actually, sir, I have seen with many of my friends and with many clients that when the floors are slippery, when there is a lack of exercise, the legs will be like this.
Obviously, because of the movement, you
Yeah,
need to have a strong muscles. If you have got joint is going to become bad only when the muscles are weak.
and there
In
will
the
be an extra pressure on the hip also.
If it is extra calcium also, then the calcium toxins, the bone marrow will also become weaker and producing more natural calcium in the body. So bones do not have their own strength until unless it is supported by a muscle. So you need to have a good muscle.
Yes.
So that widening of the hip joint or the front legs becoming tilted, it is only, I have seen number of overuse of supplementation, especially calcium. And
Yes.
calcium absorption sometimes, if there is imbalance in calcium and phosphorus ratio, it is going to be a rachitic legs. It is going to be a weak joints.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So I will take one more question, sir. That is, good evening, doctors. What is the ideal weight for a 90 days old beagle puppy? Mine is weighing 7 plus kgs. Is it right weight?
Yeah,
She
of
is
course it
asking
is.
basically 90 days old beagle weighing 7 plus kgs. Is it right?
It's a right weight. The only thing is you'll have to just see it is a fat weight. It's a puppy fat weight. So
Mhm.
because as beagle will grow, beagle is going to be a kind of a square. Sorry, it is going to be a breed with lot of muscles, and it's a pack dog. They're like running. So naturally, 7 kg is a right weight. 7 to 8 kg of weight. A 3-month-old puppy is fine.
Okay, sir.
Absolutely fine. You'll have to just see that the joints are doing well and they are drinking enough of water. Beagle require a lot of water, so they get dehydrated very fast. And see to it they you don't feed wheat to them. Too much of carbohydrate through wheat. They have got allergy. Gluten allergy. Beagles are
Yes.
known to have gluten allergy.
Gluten allergy.
Don't make them
Okay.
fat by giving a lot of carbohydrates. Try to give more proteinous diet.
Okay. Sir, another interesting question and a common question among the pet parents, that is regarding something related to deworming. So, Mr. Yadav, he has asked, "Good evening, sir. I have a question regarding my 2-year old Siberian Husky male. I want to know how should be deworming done, and my dog has some digestion issue. I tried everything, but his digestion is fine for few days, but in between he gets loose motion. How to treat him, and what food you recommend? How should the vaccination be done, and which brand, and what should be the schedule?" So he is basically asking about the deworming schedule and vaccination schedule to be followed.
Uh, Mr. Yadav, basically, once you look at the puppy, at the dog, you have a grown-up Siberian Husky, and Siberian Husky require, the environment which is colder, and their genetics is to adopt to colder environment. But since we are adopting them in Delhi, so they need less energy from fat because you are not putting them. Their lipid profile always goes haywire if you keep on giving fatty diet to them because of the environment the huskies are born. They are born with the genetics of fighting against cold. Okay, number one. Number two, indigestion and the loose motions we are talking about. So you must be changing food very frequently. They are not human beings. We keep on looking for a food. Even if we eat sometimes Korean food, sometimes Japanese food, our digestion goes haywire, isn't it? So same thing happens with dogs also. Dogs don't have any uh, you know choosing nature. They want to stick to one food, and that food will give them complete digestion. Their enzymes are created like that. Don't give them any kind of a human food, whatever you like and you are giving them. So stick to one food, and they are monotonous in nature. They don't vary the food too much. If you vary food too much, indigestion is going to happen. Okay, because probiotics are available in a market, and good digestible food are available in kibble form from NLD. Also, they have got a digestibility food, so you can have that also because the gastrointestinal formulated foods are much better for your dog. For regarding deworming starts at as early as 8 weeks of age, and then you keep on doing it every month. Then at up to 6 months of age, you should do it every month, and then every 3 months. And deworming formula is according to the vet, whatever medicine he is using. most of the time there is a combination of fenbendazole, and few preparations are coming in a market. So I will not name one. You can go to your vet and ask for a deworming tablets, and they give some digestibility probiotics. So you can, whenever you are giving deworming, follow with probiotic for a while. Probiotic, natural probiotic is curd. You know, yogurt is a natural probiotic, but for secreting better enzymes in the system, you need to have a commercial probiotics which are available in a marketplace to control that digestibility problem you are facing. Don't change food, give probiotic, and keep doing deworming. First deworming, and first day, suppose you have done deworming on 1st of November, repeat that after 19 days, because the adult worms which has given any kind of eggs will become adult again, and they will there. You'll have to break that cycle of there if the worms are there, or get the stool tested. If there is no worms, why should you keep on giving deworming tablet? But deworming helps increasing immunity also, so keep on doing deworming every 3 months. That is advisable. There is no specific preparations. A lot of companies are producing good good dewormers, so you can go to your vet and he will be great help for you.
And he has also asked for the vaccination schedule, sir.
Vaccination. Vaccination starts at again 8 weeks of age, then 12 weeks of age, 16 weeks of age, and then after 16 week, 4 months. You know, the rabies vaccine like distemper, hepatitis, leptospirosis vaccinations is to be fixed at 4 months of age, and then every year. Same is with canine coronavirus vaccine. You can have two boosters or three boosters starting from 8 weeks of age, and then every year after 4 months of age. Same is with kennel cough. Kennel cough vaccine is to be started at 3 months of age, 4 months of age, and then every year. These are the three major vaccination required in Delhi or in India. I'm from Delhi, so I'm talking about Delhi, but all over India the schedule is same, right? So 3 months, 4 months, every year.
And sir,
And the
he
three vaccines are there. Four vaccines are there. Anti-rabies, against rabies. It depends upon which anti-rabies vaccine are using. If they are using anti-rabies vaccine which is valid for 1 year or 3 years, but most of the time India rabies is prevalent. So what you need to do is that you'll have to repeat every year. And then distemper, hepatitis, leptospirosis, and parainfluenza vaccine, and parvovirus vaccine. 4 months of age is the last vaccine, 3 months, 4 months, and then every year. And same is with canine coronavirus. Schedule is same, and your vet will tell you that. And every year repetition is very, very important till
yes,
8 years age to 10 years of age. Yeah.
yes, sir. Yes. Sir, actually, he has also mentioned that there has some digestive issue. I tried everything, but his digestion is fine for a few days. But in between, he gets loose motion. So he has further added that I have gastrointestinal wet food. Should I give him, and how much amount to be given in each feed? I believe this pet might be having some inflammatory bowel disease or something like that. That's why the vet might have suggested him the gastrointestinal wet food, sir.
Not necessarily. Sometimes they have got a irritating bowel syndrome. That
Yes,
intestinal irritating bowel syndrome is basically change of food frequently. So
yes.
stick to food for a while, at least for 90 days, so
Okay.
that the system comes respond to this food barrier. So minimum 90 days you'll have to continue. I will
Okay.
suggest
Okay.
once you have started this, to start and carry on for next 90 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have got another question from Mr. Kurwa. So he's saying, please give any feeding suggestions for miniature pincher apart from dry food. Nutrition related advice for these tiny breeds.
See, as such, once you're keeping a miniature, any dog which is miniature in breed, they are very funny. I'll say eater which are very, they don't eat very frequently, and they are very selective eaters. And the amount of food is very less they eat. I will suggest that you should have dry food only, or canned food only, because that is formulated for their breed specifications, and it is formulated in such a way that whatever nutrients or macronutrients or micronutrients are required, it is formulated in very good way. You can't make that home food for them. Since a lot of research from last 30 years has taken place in dog food industry, so I will suggest, once you are keeping a small breed, they are anyway going to eat very less, and they are always fussy eaters. So you can't formulate kind of a food for them. Sometimes he will eat this, sometimes he won't eat. But if you put him on a one uniform food, I told earlier also, it is a monotonous nature of a dog. Once they start eating something, they will keep on eating that only. If you keep on, if there is a dog outside a meat shop, if you give him a sweet, he won't eat. But the dog outside a sweet shop will not eat meat. Okay, so it is. So they are very selective in nature. Dogs are,
Great.
their olfactory, the pores are more in number than human beings. They smell everything and then they eat. So miniature pincher, I will say, if you're giving them chicken rice and a lot of vegetables, and you can add some half a spoon of vegetable oil, uh, you'll have to weigh how much you are giving. You can keep that also. You can start that with fresh food. Otherwise, ready-made food is more easy to give always.
So actually, for Mr. Kurwa, the problem with homemade diets is that it is very difficult to calculate how much you are feeding, how much protein you are feeding, how much calories you are feeding. But if you feed a ready-made diet, you can calculate based upon, because everything is based on research and everything is depicted on the label of any packaged diets.
Yeah, because the importance is not of major nutrients like you are talking about, but the problem is with the micronutrients.
Yes, sir.
What
Yes, yes, sir.
ingredients are put that, because the disease pattern sets in because the deficiency or excesses of micronutrients, not the macronutrients or the things which are in larger number. Yeah,
Yes, yes, sir. Very.
micronutrients are more important.
Sir, I have received an interesting question. See, this is from Miss Jones. She is asking, I can't get my English bulldog to stop licking her feet. I feed only high quality food, licking feet continuously. That is the problem.
Basically, that is licking his own food. Feet, basically, sometimes it happens because of the fungus growth. So you have to just see that if there is any fungal growth there, you know, take your pet to a vet, and then they will see with the Woods lamp if there is any kind of a fungal growth. You'll have to just test their skin there. The allergic reaction, if there is any allergic reaction from food, it is going to be all over the body. So it is not only the feet part. If they are he's licking only one particular feet or all the 4 feet, you'll have to just check that. And if any kind of a paw balm, you get ointment, antifungal cream, or antifungal spray, you can put the spray and rub it and just see that that helps. Then you can always it will be a great thing for him. So you'll have to check the skin irritation is because of the fungus growth or some allergic reaction if he's getting into water or getting wet more frequently, or cleaning you are cleaning it too much with any kind of a cleanser his feet. Just check
S-
that.
Sir, as you mentioned about the fungal growth in pets, so I just a common question, a common doubt among a new pet parent is that why I brought a puppy to my home or a kitten to my home, when should I give my first bath? Him a first bath.
And that's important. That's very important. See, hygiene is very important, especially during this period. Pandemic is going on, and then we have to create really a lot of good hygiene practices, and we have to just look at it. You know how to sanitize your pet also once you are bringing him home. So now the dry bath sprays are available in the market. You can just clean that with that. And first bath you can give anytime whenever you are adopting after 10 weeks of age. Use lukewarm water and use good shampoo and dry them off very fast as early as possible. India is a country where there is a lot of pollution, especially in Delhi. So we have to give them first bath, preferably at 3 months of age, not before that. I'm sorry. So 3 months of age is the right age because at that time first vaccinations are already done, their immunity is already developed. See to it that you are grooming them in a nice good environment and you are doing it properly, and clean them up, and at room temperature water is all right, but hot water is always because their normal temperature is 102.1 to 102.5. So you can always give them a hot water bath. After that, in Delhi, I recommend people to give bath every 10 days. Grooming should be done every 10 days in winters and every 7 to 8 days in summer.
Summer.
Every month, sometimes you can groom if you are living in state like Kerala or where there is less pollution or some hill stations. You can give bath every month, but bathing you can start from 3 months of age.
Okay. Sir, we discussed about what should be given to a puppy, what should be given to a kitten. So, as a pet parent, what should not they give to their puppies or kittens? What are the things which they should restrict? What are the food items they should restrict? And what are the managemental aspects also which they should keep in their mind that they should not do this when they have a pet?
First thing, very important, is don't experiment. First thing is not to do is not to experiment with the dog food. Food is very important aspect in case of pets or in case of pups or kittens and then adult dogs also. You cannot experiment. Milk is lactose intolerance is very common in case of a pet. So don't get why not to give milk and we have to give milk. Milk and milk products. In milk products, you'll have to give only the curd part. Yogurt is the only healthy thing which is probiotic and provides healthy organisms. Uh, do not give sweets, too much sweets, because they are prone to diabetes. And there is only one diabetes. They don't have genetics in diabetes like human beings. They only get diabetes through food only. So don't give too much of fat in your food, and don't give any raw food because hygiene, you'll have to maintain hygiene. Some of the breeders, they will advise you can give a raw food or something like that. It is not required. You can always give food which is ready made, or you are cooking food at home. Do not add garlic and stuff like that, yeah, onion, because that is toxic. Do not give chocolates to your dogs as a sweets, and no table scraps at all whenever you are. Fix the timings. Otherwise, few centuries back or few years back, dogs are kept as a whenever you have got some bread or something which is left over, you used to feed to your dogs, just to give them so that they don't feel hungry. But now the pets have become more precious, and their digestibility and adaptability is also according to the environment they are living in, so their immunity has gone down. So you have to specifically give good fortified food only, which is supplemented along with the food. And if you are giving homemade food, give them with the advice of your vet, according to whatever is required. You can give some supplementation to increase the immunity as well as multivitamins. I will suggest, these are the 5 ingredients which is required. Basically, proteins for muscles and for building, the system. Our whole secretions are protein only. Our blood is protein, our muscles are protein, our skin is protein. So dog is also going to be, you know it is not omnivorous, it is carnivorous. So that means genetically they require meat. Okay, so don't experiment too much. Sorry.
So we have received a question, sir. So the question is, sir, what about the preservatives in the dog food? What will be the effect of those preservatives in the long run?
Once you are giving these dog food, naturally you'll have to be worried about what kind of a brand you are using. That if the company which is supported with their R&D and whatever is required, they have worked properly on what foods can prevent diseases and what food can cause diseases, and they have done good research and development work in food. Please stick to good brand only, otherwise you can make a home food. Okay, don't go for a cheap brand, and don't go for a low quality food, and which is cost effective, but it is not really good for the. Regarding preservatives, definitely preservatives, if it is used in excess for increasing the shelf life, it is not really good. But definitely the companies with good brand and R&D, they have worked on that and they have seen the effect of preservatives. Please go through that literature very well. And your vet is a best person to tell you what brand of food you will be using. Preservatives definitely in excess is bad, and then that can cause some irritability in the intestines also if you are giving wrong food again. But if
Yes.
you are giving right food, then your home food is also right. And if you are giving raw food at home also, because everything whatever you are giving is coming with preservatives these days. What vegetables you are getting, what natural meat you are getting, everything is coming with antibiotic sprays or preservatives. That is how it is coming in a marketplace. So you can't avoid that, but antioxidants will definitely help. Some vitamin supplementations will definitely help if you are giving shelf life of the food, and the food which are ready made with the R&D support is much better.
So I would like to add that, sir, in Farmina, we use only natural preservatives, which is vitamin E. So vitamin E, along with natural nitrogen flushing, keeps the freshness of the cables. We never add any artificial preservatives with Farmina.
Okay, so that is what I was talking about. Once you have got a R&D, you know,
Yes, yes, sir.
you have research and development team which is taking care of that. So natural preservatives are always better.
Yes, sir. Yes,
How to basically you are looking at the organic, and if the organic you are seeing, no vegetable is organic unless it is grown in an organic way.
yes,
Even the seeds has to be organic.
yes. So we will take up another question. This is from again from Mr. Kurwa. So he is saying, I have been listening more about apple cider vinegar adding to food. Does it really works for dogs for digestion related? Please explain.
Yeah, apple vinegar, apple cider vinegar is recently it's a research, and the pH of stomach in case of a canine, it is acidic. It is nature has provided that acidic nature of the stomach. It is only to prevent disease production by the food, because they used to scavenge and they used to hunt and they used to eat. So the dogs are supposed to hunt and then eat, right? So they are natural, from generation to generation, from few thousand years, that genetics has not changed in case of a dog. So their acidity is maintained in case of a uh, stomach acidity is concerned, as the pH value is concerned. It is now they say that you provide alkaline food to some of the enthusiasts have started working on that. The apple cider vinegar is one of that, out of enthusiasm only, to make it more alkaline, your flora, intestinal flora, to make it more alkaline. uh, but definitely in case of canine, as far as research is concerned, it is just still a research topic. It has not really proven anything which is helping in arthritis or something, or digestibility.
Sir, as you are a cat parent, so I just wanted to understand what is your advice for, especially for the cat parents, to select the cat litter, because that plays a very important role in the cat's life. Cat litter. How do
Yeah.
you? What is your advice on this, sir?
See, basically in cat, they maintain that cleanliness themselves. They keep on licking. If the cat is healthy, that means they are licking. If they are not healthy, they won't lick. They clean themselves regularly. Same is for them to use litter. So you have to keep a good quality litter always, and replace the whole litter after every week to 10 days, because otherwise the absorption of toxins of their urine will stay there, and it will help microbes to grow in that litter. So every week to 10 days you should replace. Otherwise, scrap litter every day. Don't leave it for few weeks and then clean it afterwards. No, you can't afford to have that. Every day you'll have to clean that litter and dispose of that litter. The litter should be always absorbing whatever is the fluid, and it is making a ball. That should be a good litter. Quality of the litter is. If it is not making that, that means litter is not good. And once the foul smell starts coming from a litter, at that point, whether it is 1 week or 10 days, you have to replace it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a question from a viewer.
Right.
He has asked, Doctor, my pet is over 4 years, male Labrador, suffering from hypothyroidism. So I please advise food to be given. At present, we are giving ultra hypo from Farmina diet. So I feel it doesn't contains vitamins, etc. So please advise, can we switch over to normal Farmina food, please? So I
Yeah,
think the dog has hypothyroidism. Maybe it may have some skin disease. That's why vet would have prescribed him ultra hypo. So now he is asking whether we can switch to normal food, normal Farmina products.
yeah. Basically, if the hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, both are basically deficiencies. It is thyroid is disturbed because of the iodine deficiency only, and it can be due to overgrowth of the hormone gland. The gland has overgrown or it has become. In case of hypothyroidism, it is a deficiency syndrome. So you'll have to stick to some specific food only, and uh, I think you should start with Altroxin tablet also, with the advice of your vet. How much quantity, according to weight, it is basically 11.7 milligram to 12 milligram per kg body weight. So you should use Altroxin tablet with the advice of your vet. And supplementation with the multivitamin is very, very important if you are giving normal formula. But if you are giving specific hypo Farmina, you can continue with that. That is a good food for hypothyroidism because that has got supplementation of iodine extra in that. So you can continue with that.
Okay, sir. So
Yeah.
we have another question, an interesting question. So the question is, even after vaccinating for parvovirus, still there are being affecting by parvo. Point is, survival rate is very low in parvo cases. Even after so much advancement, still we are not able to get over parvo.
Vaccines. In this case, I will suggest vaccines are always effective up to 98%, or some of the vaccine brand they say they are effective up to 99%, but not more than 98%. 2% failure is always there. So virus is a virus; it multiplies and it affects your immunity. If your pup immunity is not good from the parent side, if the parents are vaccinated, they carry forward that immunity with them towards parvovirus. So if you are buying it a puppy from a pet shop or the unauthorized breeders, then definitely you are going to get these kind of challenges when you go for a parvo vaccine. See to it that your pup is healthier when you are picking up a pup and it is dewormed. If there is a worm load in the intestines and you're vaccinating your puppy, naturally, definitely the vaccine is going to be effective only 10% to 20%, not even 40% or 50%. So you have to make your vaccination schedule effective. First, deworm, increase the immunity, and then when the puppy is healthy, then the vaccination is done. Then the parvovirus vaccine is very, very effective. I have yet to see cases falling ill in our clinic because of the hygiene we maintain once and the cold chain we maintain. And when you are picking up a vaccinated puppy from a breeder, don't believe them. Get the vaccination done again. That is one thing. Parvovirus is basically a very, very dangerous disease. It's a highly contagious disease from pup to pup. If one pup has got in the litter and from the pet shop, you are picking up a pup which is healthy. So basically, you are carrying a parvo with you. So you have to just see to it that you're not picking up a pup from a breeder which is not keeping their puppy hygienic in a hygienic condition. And regarding the vaccine, it should be done at the right time. It should be done at if it is 35 days, puppy DP is there. So get it done and then repeat it properly. Yeah.
Sir, one more question. So there are pet parents who say that they might have lost a puppy because of parvo, and if they wanted to, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So if a pet parent has lost a puppy because of parvo, then and if they wanted to adopt or raise another puppy, a new puppy, so how many days? What
90
should be the 90 days? Okay, okay.
Minimum 90 days because you'll have to
Because
clean them.
this is a common question which we get from the pet parents asking, my puppy died because of parvo, and now after how many days we have to take a puppy or adopt a puppy?
See, basically, I always advise people not to hurry after the puppy has died of the parvovirus, number one. Number two, because uh, if it is 1 or 2 days at your home, it is not much, you know, cleaning it with Dettol or even with Savlon in that area is okay. And you wash your hands and fumigate with anything which is, because it is not communicable to human beings, so we are less bothered. But 90 days is a cycle which is complete. But one, you are keeping only one puppy and that has died of parvo, so you can bring it after 3 weeks to 4 weeks also. But 90
Okay.
days is the ideal time.
Okay. So we have a question from Mr. Cherian. So he is asking, are the parvovirus vaccine used in India live parvo? He's basically
No, no.
asking, are we using the live virus?
We have got all attenuated virus vaccines, and vaccines we are the Indian companies are producing also parvovirus vaccines, and it is very effective. And French vaccines are, I consider, much better than any other vaccine available in the marketplace. So go in for which is, they have got a better strain of parvovirus than any other strains. US made and the Czechoslovakia made vaccines have got a different antigen in their vaccines. All these vaccines are attenuated, not live virus.
I think you got your answer, Mr. Cherian. So we have received a question from Mrs. Sood. So she is asking, hi doctor, can we feed them chocolates, cakes, and or Indian sweets? Also, is Combiflam recommended in dogs?
Yeah, Pragya, chocolates and cakes and Indian sweets are good for human beings only, not for pets. Not at all, because these are
Actually,
toxic.
there is a confusion in the market. There are many brands saying dog chocolates. That may be a reason people we are getting the same question again and again.
That's quite confusing also, and that the manufacturers are making this. I will talk about snacks and everything. Let me answer this question complete,
Yes.
because this is my daughter who is asking this question, Pragya.
Yeah.
Okay, and she is saying that chocolate cakes and Indian sweets, these are not really good because of the high sugar content, number one, and chocolates are definitely allergic. That leads to death sometimes. So chocolates are not. Combiflam is contraindicated. Any kind of anti-inflammatory drugs which are used in human beings, even tramadol, I'm not recommending that too, because that is gastrointestinal irritation and leads to bleeding in the intestines and leads to death sometimes. So do not use Combiflam or your own any kind of anti-inflammatory medicine unless veterinarians. Even sometimes veterinarians are not aware of that. So please beware that Combiflam or ibuprofen is contraindicated in dogs.
Okay.
Very strict.
So yeah, so we are coming to the end of the session, sir. So we will take two more questions.
Yeah, sure.
So one question is, sir, my lab baby already had puppy DP, DHPPI, corona. Coming 2nd November, she will complete 3 months. Still, rabies and distemper are remaining. Should I give her first bath after 2nd November? Also, let me know her bath schedule, like twice in a month or what.
See, the vaccinations, once you finish a vaccination at 3 months of age, after 3 days of that, you can give bath to your pet. And distemper and rabies is to be given at 3 months of age, and then booster at 4 months of age. So, in between, you
Hmm.
can give a bath after 3 days, not on the day of vaccination, right? Because puppy should be always healthy to get the vaccination done. Number one. Number two, always use lukewarm water, I told, and good shampoo. And the schedule of bedding is after every 10 to 15 days. You can clean your dog with the proper shampoo. Otherwise, dry bath shampoos are available. You can always, spray that and clean it up.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, the last question, sir,
yeah.
from Mrs. Raj, she's again asking, I have two puppies of 3 months. They are Beagle and Siberian Husky. How many times should I feed them and how much in the amount?
Yeah,
So,
all at 3 months of age, you should feed your puppy 4 times to 5 times, 3 times as minimum after 4 months of age. But before 4 months of age, you'll have to feed your puppy 4 times a day. And as whatever food you are using, the quantity is, recommended on the packet itself. You can go through that. If you are giving a homemade food, ask your vet how much you can give according to their weight requirement, how much according to their growth requirement. Siberian Husky and this Beagle, both are sensitive breeds. please stick to good diet and good plan.
Okay, sir. And sir, what about the training? So when can a pet parent start training their pets, socializing or training? So this is going to be a
See,
common question among all the pet parents.
absolutely, because socializing a puppy at home is immediately the moment you adopt it. You know, they must meet everyone and they should smell everyone, and everybody should play with them, and not one person only feeding a puppy. Everybody at home should be making a choice to feed a puppy so that he becomes everybody's friend. Number one. Number two, giving. What was your last issue? Is that
Training.
training?
So
Training starts
training.
after see, basically, home housebreaking training starts after 4 months of age. You know, before that, you'll have to just train them on a training patch. You can take a training drops also from a vet. Otherwise, there is a training patch you can put your puppy, because the moment the pup will eat, he will naturally like to, housebreak. The housebreaking training you can start by putting them on a pad, which is a training pad. The basic training, which is advanced training, or everything starts from 4 months of age, not before that. They're advisable to start, because before that they're always playful in nature and they're not going to take any training. The basic training, like housebreaking, sit, and responding to your calls, starts basically after 4 months of age.
Okay, sir. So
Yeah,
we have come to the end of the session, sir. It was a pleasure that to have an interaction with you, and thank you for answering all the questions
my pleasure.
raised by our viewers and by us. Uh,
My pleasure.
and for
It
the
was
viewers, yes, sir. And for the viewers also, we have tried our maximum to take up your questions. If we have missed any of your questions, we will definitely ping back to you directly. So we will join on another Farmina Nutrition Hour with an interesting topic. Till that time, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.